AITA for telling parents not to take their kids trick-or-treating to a certain house. My husband and I have 5 kids between us. He had 2 from a previous relationship, 9 and 13. I have 1, 14. And we have 2 together, 3 and 6. Our 6-year-old is autistic. She is verbal but she doesn't like strangers and doesn't talk to them. I was worried about taking her trick-or-treating, but I know she practiced at school and we practiced the signs, "Candy please," and "Thank you." It was going well at first. Then she started to get tired. At one of our last houses, she didn't speak or sign. The woman was handing out goodie bags with king-size candy bars and stickers. She gave one to all of my kids except for my 6-year-old. She ran to me crying and my 14-year-old told me that the woman didn't give her a bag because she wouldn't say trick or treat. I went up and explained that she's autistic and doesn't speak much, but the woman refused to give her anything unless she said trick or treat. After some back and forth, I made the kids give the bags back and we left. I texted a group chat with parents in my daughter's classes, both general ed and special ed, gave them the address, and explained what happened so they wouldn't have to deal with that with their kids. Word spread pretty quickly, so that house was not very popular last night except for some pranks. People even posted about her on Nextdoor. Now she's posting about me and my kids, and this whole thing is blown out of proportion. I was wondering if I was wrong for telling parents not to take their kids to her house. NTA. I live in one of the go-to neighborhoods for trick-or-treating and we regularly get over 500 kids come to our door. I don't make them perform for the candy. There is no transaction here beside you show up, you get candy. No costume? You still get candy. Senior in high school? Awesome. Here is some candy. NTA. You didn't tell anybody to stay away from the house. You just gave a heads up of how someone treated a neurodivergent kid. People made their own decisions on whether or not to go to the house after receiving your information and request for support. I'm glad to see so many were supporting neurodivergent kids. We gave out full-size candy bars last night and there were kids who were so excited they forgot to say trick or treat or thank you. Did I complain or make a fuss? No. I saw a couple of kids grabbing extras and it didn't bother me. It's Halloween and it's supposed to be fun. It's wonderful when kids are polite, but you also have to recognize that there are kids like your daughter and my son who sometimes can't do that, or who are just too excited by everything going on to remember all the social niceties. ETA. My apologies. I missed the very last line of the OP's post. Was reading on my phone. But my point still stands in that people made their own decisions about going to the house after receiving the information from the OP. The OP didn't force anyone to stay away, and if the homeowner believes that the OP kept people away, she's very mistaken, as it was her own actions, rightfully called out, that kept people away. NTA. People who are mean to kids because they're neurodivergent, or because they have disabilities, or even just because they're shy or don't jump through hoops on command deserve what they get. The ESHs here are so worried about her poor hurty feelings about being piled on. Well, she earned them with her behavior. Unlike the child she was cheerfully willing to single out and treat cruelly for the crime of having a disability. Maybe a little public shaming will teach her what she apparently lacks the heart to figure out on her own. There is no reason ever to single out and pick on a small child for being different. NTA. As an autistic person myself, I understand your thinking of wanting to warn others and give you kudos as a parent of an autistic kid. When I was a child, I was very non-verbal with strangers. Even into my early teen years, I only spoke through my parents, siblings, or close friends to strangers, at the doctor's office, ordering at restaurants, strangers on the street commenting on my appearance, etc. I always spoke through the ones I trusted. I've, unfortunately, had too many experiences in my childhood of people treating me differently because I wouldn't talk with them. They didn't care for the reasoning. They would just be rude. I've been called a brat, a liar, an attention seeker, a prude, etc. You stood up for your child nicely, explained the issue, and the woman was small-minded and ableist in her response. Also, ignore the comments saying you were out for revenge or spreading this to make that woman a social pariah. You didn't do that. You gave a word of warning to other parents who may have socially anxious kids, or, as you stated, there were special ed parents too. Kids with autism or other disabilities that could make that house a horrible experience for them. Nor did you make a group chat, but messaged in an already made one. You didn't make anyone post about it anywhere else or encourage people to prank her house. You were just looking out for the well-being of other kids and the stress it would cause them and their parents. NTA. She doubled down on her ignorant behavior even when you explained the situation. Then, you privately let others know what happened. It's okay to tell others about your lived experience. She wasn't as in the wrong here. No doubt about it. NTA. People who are assholes to 6-year-olds so they can pull some sort of petty power trip are pathetic and deserve to be put on blast. If she was cruel to your kid, she'll be cruel to others. NTA. That home doesn't welcome ND children and deserves to be put on blast for it. And you helped prevent parents with ND children from dealing with that. NTA. My son is nonverbal. There's no excuse for punishing a child for having an impairment. No amount of punishment will ever make my son learn to talk. NTA. Discriminating against a kid. Doubling down. You warned others so they could protect their kids from ignorant asshole behavior. Make shame great again. For what it's worth, my son has an auditory processing disorder and a speech impediment. Sometimes he forgets to say please and thank you because he gets overly excited. I'd have done the exact same thing you did, TBH. Fortunately for me, the people in my area are just jazzed that any kids are out trick-or-treating. They even gave candy to adults and teenagers. TLDR. She was a jerk and deserved to be called out, and the other parents deserve the chance to protect their kids from bad interactions with strangers on a holiday about fun, generosity, and a sense of community. Hell no. I have a nonverbal 4-year-old, and would have been extremely grateful for the heads up. That is just mean. I gave out full-sized candy this year. Not a single child went away without one. Even one parent was so excited about her that I let him take a full sleeve of Starbursts. I got a fist bump and felt like a god. We got a couple nonverbal, shy, exhausted kids last night too. Ho didn't say a word. They were treated like every other child who came to the door. I even got a little boy who didn't speak to me and wasn't in costume like his sister. He still got to pick whatever candy he wanted. NTA! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! NTA! You were looking out for A. Your daughter B. Your friend's kids who may have a similar experience. She should have just lightened the hell up and given your daughter some candy just cause she didn't say 3 meaningless words. NTA! I don't understand why that woman couldn't just give your daughter the goodie bag after you explained that she is autistic. She seems like an ableist person who lacks empathy. NTA! The ignorance of some people is not yours or your daughter's fault. If she still insists your daughter says trick or treat after the explanation, she deserves all the criticism going. NTA! Not downplaying autism or any child's challenges here. But an adult forcing any child to comply to trick or treat is a complete $. If after a single prompt of, "What are the magic Halloween words?" quote, a child shies away or says anything other than trick or treat or says nothing at all, just give the kids some damn candy. Your role is not to educate them. It's to hand out candy and get some joy in your life for doing so. Otherwise, shut the lights, shut the curtains, and don't answer the door. Stingy. And here I was beckoning parents and older siblings with their partners that were standing back to come up and also get candy. I don't care. It's Halloween. You come anywhere near my door, you get candy if you want it. You don't have to say anything or even be at my door. Just somewhere between it and the street. I can't stand candy gatekeeping. NTA. No. NTA at all. The lady was being very weird towards your daughter over some corny trick or treat. It's not far-fetched at all to tell people to stay away from her. I usually don't give the rats time to say anything. Take your candy. Get off my porch. I understand adults telling kids, say thank you, or whatever. But when she found out your kid isn't verbal, she should have given the candy to you. I had this tiny witch with glassy eyes and runny nose escorted by mom and aunt. They kept barking at her to say trick or treat. I said number worries. Squatted and told her to take what she wanted. She very carefully selected 2 lollipops. Poor kidling needed bed. Wanted to tell the parents to not take a sick 3-year-old trick of treating period. I had a high school kid in no costume with no bag come up last night. You know what I did? Gave him candy. Few kids didn't say, trick or treat, and still got candy. That neighbor sucks. NTA people can be cruel all holidays and you ran into one. I hope next year she gets 0 kids at her door. NTA. I'm a mother and I'm autistic. I would genuinely appreciate a heads-up about an ableist neighbor that intentionally discriminates against kids with autism. They just reaped the ableism that they sowed.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.